If you're a racing game enthusiast and enjoy customizing your vehicles, then you've come to the right place. Assetto Corsa Competizione is a popular racing game that allows players to experience the thrill of racing on some of the most iconic tracks in the world. One of the most exciting features of the game is the ability to customize your cars with unique liveries, which can make your car stand out on track. In this tutorial, I'll be walking you through the process of creating a custom livery for your car step by step. So grab your design tools and let's get started. First thing you need to do is launch ACC. Go to single player, click on theme and make sure you click on the add button next to customize. In this example, I'm going to pick the NSX GT3. Type in the car number and the team name you want. Same goes for the nationality and cup, just choose whatever you prefer. This can all be changed later and won't cause any issues with your custom livery design. I'm going to create a livery for our Red Kings Motorsport team sponsor, so that's why I went with the team name Radian. For the sponsor, you can leave it at default. The design, however, is important. We are going to create a custom livery in this tutorial, but only people or a league that downloads your specific livery will see it. This means that if you join a public lobby, nobody will be able to see your custom livery, which is a shame, but unfortunately that's the way it works. So it makes sense to select the design which you like and preferably use the same color scheme which you are also going to use in your custom livery design. You can also change the type of finish to your personal preference, and the same goes for customizing the wheels. After you're happy with the results, click on save, and that was it for step 1. What you have basically done now is let ACC create a JSON file in which all your custom preferences are stored. This file can be found in Documents, Assetto Corsa Competizione, Customs, Cars. If you have already raced online before or have added other liveries, there can be multiple files in here. For the sake of the tutorial, I removed my other files to avoid all of this clutter, so you can only see the single file we just made. If in your case it's full of JSON files, it's best to just sort the files by date, and the most recent one should be the livery file you just created. What you need to do now is open the JSON file. This can be done via Notepad, but I use Notepad++, which you can download for free and gives you a much better overview for these kinds of files. Once you have opened the file, you can see all the information which you changed in ACC being displayed in a plain and simple layout, such as the race number, team name, country, etc. You can also make changes here if you want, but if you want to avoid any issues, it's best to just do it in game. The reason why you have to open this file is because you need to link this JSON file with the folder in which you will store your custom livery files. So under custom skin name, type in something like #26 _ Cascanova _ NSX GT3. This is the logic that a lot of people use, and it's also a good idea to put some clear information about the car and or driver in the file name. After you've clicked on save and close the file, you will still see that the name of the JSON file has remained the same. I always make sure to match this name to the name that I used under custom skin name. So in this case I will also use #26 _ Cascanova _ NSX GT3 for the file name. Now that you've linked this folder, ACC knows where it needs to look to apply the custom livery to the car. But before ACC can find that folder, we of course first need to create it. What you need to do now is go to Assetto Corsa Competizione, Customs, Liveries, and create a folder with exactly the same name that you used under the custom skin name. So again, type in #26 _ Cascanova _ NSX GT3 and hit enter. Congratulations, you have now managed to modify the car files and the fun part can begin. Before you start working on your livery, you need to close your game. And because you will most likely need to do a lot of edits before you get your livery design the way you want it, it's a good idea to change one line in your menu settings JSON file. This file is located in the Assetto Corsa Competizione config folder. If you're using Notepad++, scroll down to line 3258, or you can just search in both Notepad and Notepad++ for the text DDS. This means that once you create a custom livery, ACC will convert your PNG livery design into a file which the game uses to render the livery onto the car. This is of course what we want, but the downside is, once the DDS is created, you need to delete that DDS again before ACC will refresh itself and create a new DDS file. In other words, if you're making minor adjustments, which is most likely what you will be doing anyways throughout your livery design, it's annoying that you constantly need to remove the DDS generated file before the game refreshes your design in-game. To avoid this hassle, make sure you set your text DDS value to 0 and save the file. Now we're all set to launch the game again and select our car. To make it easier to find our car straight away, put the filter on Custom. Once the car is selected, in my case there's only one custom car, we can go back to our Assetto Corsa Competizione Customs Liveries folder. And you will see that under hashtag 26 Cascanova NSX GT3, there are now 2 files which have been generated by ACC. These files tell ACC what finish, chrome, glossy, matte, metallic, satin or satin metallic, needs to be applied on both of the custom layers that you're going to create. To give you an example, I prefer to make my decals design in satin metallic, because it gives a nice shine to the design, and for my sponsor layer I choose a matte finish so that it's easier to read since the glare of the sun has less effect on it. To change these values, I open up the decals JSON with Notepad or Notepad++ and put in the values from the satin metallic example file. I do the same thing for the sponsor JSON and copy paste the matte values. You can find the file with every different finish in the description below. Now let's go to the good stuff and open up your preferred image editor, which is Photoshop in my case, and finally start with the creation of a livery. If you don't have the wireframes on your PC, make sure to use the link in the description below to download all of these. Small disclaimer, I do not own these wireframes since these belong to Kunos Simulazione and I found these thanks to the Bunatix video. Once the files are stored on your PC, open up the PSD file of the car of your choice and you should see a wireframe of the car. If you're overwhelmed at first by the fact that the car has exploded into hundreds of pieces, don't worry. It might take you some time to find out where every piece goes, but once you've finished your first design, it will have been worth every single minute you spend on it. Now depending on what car you will pick, you will see that some will have more or fewer layers, but it should always have a wireframe, which is basically all we need. Now before we start adding design elements, different colors and a bunch of sponsors, it's a good idea to organize your project first. For every design that I create, I start with the layer structure and create 2 main folders called decals and sponsors. And in those folders I make subfolders for all the sides of the car, front, rear, left, right and also the roof. This way I can easily keep track of all my layers and I can select the specific folder to export my project to a decals PNG or a sponsors PNG. I don't want to go into too much detail on how to make a livery design itself, because that is all up to your personal preference. And for the software that you're using, there should be plenty of tutorials that explain everything much better than I can on how everything works. So for the sake of the tutorial, I'm opening up the finished livery that I made for Radian. Because I organized my file, it's now very simple for me to export the correct layers which I need by simply just showing and hiding the folders that I need. After I exported both designs for my decals.png as well as for my sponsors.png, I can start my game back up again. When you have done everything correctly, your car should show up in the showroom with the design you have created. For this example, I have made a tiny error on the livery which I want to adjust. So just go back to your editing software by pressing Alt-Tab, without closing ACC, and remove the yellow square which shouldn't have been there in the first place. Now just export the file again, and after you've clicked on the number again, you will notice that the livery has been updated. If we hadn't deleted the settings file as explained before, we would have had to delete the DDS file first before we could have seen the updated file. Now there's also the possibility to remove the number from the car by selecting design 1. This, for people that don't have your livery, turns your car into a full black carbon version. While the benefit for this is that you can put the number wherever you prefer, there are also downsides about this design. If you have joined a lobby or a league in which you can't get the number you are used to, it will not change automatically. Also, your wheel color will be black, so if you like colored wheels, there is no possibility to change this. If you go back to your previous design, however, the wheels will show again. Once everything is looking perfect, close your game. If you take a look now in your custom livery folder, you will see that there are only 4 files in there. The JSON and PNG files for the decals and sponsors, but no DDS files. That's because we deactivated this option in the menu settings file. So open up the menu settings.json file again and change that text DDS value back to 1. After you have launched the game again and go to the showroom, your game will freeze for a few seconds, because ACC is generating that first DDS, which you can also see in your folder when you Alt-Tab out of the game. Now when you go into an online or offline race, you'll also get a second DDS file that ACC generates. This one is a more compressed version of your livery and is also the one that most leagues our livery platform asks for when you upload your livery to their library. Once you're checking out your livery in-game, you might be a bit disappointed on how much your livery design got compressed. This is not a big deal for when you are racing, but for screenshots or video edits, you want it to look as good as possible. Now for this there's also a solution. You just have to open up that menu settings.json file again, and in that file you need to look one line above the text TDS, which we had to adjust before, and change the text cap from 1 to 0. And if you relaunch your game again, and you do this exact same thing as before, you'll see that now better textures are being used for your livery and the design looks a lot better. Now everything looks great and you're ready to take screenshots and do video edits and upload these to your socials. If you have any questions, please use the comments below and I will get back to you shortly. Have a good one.